Today's video is about Pablo Escobar, the infamous Kingpin of the Medellín cartel. Born on the 1st of December in 1949 in the small town of Rio Negro, nestled in the Antioquia department of Colombia, a boy named Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria entered this world. His parents, Abel de Jesus Dari Escobar and Hamilda Gaviria, were simple people, a farmer and a schoolteacher respectively, who could hardly have imagined the path their son's life would take. Raised in the humble and harsh realities of their modest lifestyle, young Pablo's ambitions were fueled. He dreamt of a life far removed from the poverty-stricken existence of his childhood. These dreams, combined with an unquenchable thirst for power and a ruthless drive, laid the foundation for the man Pablo Escobar would become. Little did the world know that this boy from Rio Negro would grow up to be one of the most notorious figures in history. Escobar's ascent to power wasn't a chance occurrence, it was a calculated and ambitious journey. Pablo Escobar, a name synonymous with the drug trade, didn't start at the top. His beginnings were humble, rooted in the streets of Colombia. It was here that he dipped his toes into the world of crime, engaging in petty street scams. These ventures may have been small, but they were the stepping stones that would lead Escobar down a path of infamy. His entrepreneurial spirit soon led him to more lucrative enterprises. Smuggling contraband cigarettes and stealing cars became his trade of choice, and the profits were substantial. But for Escobar, this was just the beginning. He had his sights set on a more profitable, albeit dangerous venture, the drug trade. At first it was marijuana. This was the 60s and 70s after all, a time when the demand for this particular narcotic was high. Escobar's operations flourished, and he quickly established a network of contacts and buyers. But as the profits rolled in, so did his ambition grow. It wasn't long before he decided to switch gears and transition into something far more lucrative: cocaine. With the cocaine trade, Escobar was playing in the big leagues. This was a high-risk, high-reward game, and he was all in. It wasn't long before he had his own laboratories, processing plants and transportation networks. He was not just a player, he was becoming the game itself. It was a dangerous path, fraught with risks and challenges. But Escobar was not deterred. He was a man on a mission, fueled by ambition and a deep-seated desire to rise above his humble beginnings. As he delved deeper into the cocaine trade, he was laying the foundation for what would become one of the most notorious criminal empires in history. Escobar was en route to becoming a kingpin, and his empire was just beginning to take shape. His rise to power was swift and ruthless, a testament to his cunning and ambition. But as we will see, with great power comes great consequences. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the reign of Pablo Escobar in our next segment. In the 1980s, Escobar's empire, the Medellín cartel, was in full swing. This was not an empire built on gold or oil, but a white powder, cocaine. The Medellín cartel was the leading distributor of this illicit substance, controlling more than 80% of the cocaine that made its way into the United States. Escobar's empire was a well-oiled machine, moving countless kilos of cocaine from the fields of Colombia to the streets of America. It was a business like no other, with an estimated worth of over $2 billion. But this was no ordinary business, and Escobar was no ordinary businessman. His empire was built on a foundation of fear and violence. The Medellín cartel was notorious for its use of terror to maintain control. Anyone who stood in their way, be it rival drug traffickers, law enforcement officers, or even government officials, ran the risk of facing the cartel's wrath. Escobar himself was said to live by the motto "plata o plomo," meaning silver or lead. This was a simple yet chilling message to those who opposed him: accept a bribe or face the bullet. Violence was not just a means to an end for the cartel. It was a way of life. Bombings, assassinations, and massacres were all tools in their arsenal, used to instill fear and maintain their grip on power. The cartel's reign of terror reached its peak in the late 1980s, with the bombing of an airliner and the siege of Colombia's Supreme Court. Yet, despite the bloodshed, Escobar was seen by many as a Robin Hood figure, using his vast wealth to fund housing projects and other social programs for the poor. This dichotomy only added to the enigma that was Pablo Escobar. At the height of his power, Escobar was one of the wealthiest men in the world, but his reign was not without consequences. His empire brought him unimaginable wealth and power, but it also brought Colombia to the brink of collapse, leaving a legacy of violence and corruption that the country still grapples with today. Pablo Escobar's reign, while powerful, could not last forever. The Colombian government, having grown weary of the destruction wreaked by the Medellín cartel, began to intensify their efforts to bring down the notorious Kingpin. The pursuit of justice was not a solitary endeavor, as international authorities also joined the fray. The United States, in particular, was keen on seeing Escobar's empire crumble, as they too felt the sting of his illicit activities. The hunt for Escobar was no easy task. His vast wealth and influence meant he was always one step ahead, disappearing into the shadows whenever the authorities got too close. Despite his evasiveness, the relentless pressure began to take its toll. The once untouchable Kingpin was slowly losing his grip on power. In the early 90s, Escobar's luck began to run out. His empire had been weakened, his allies had dwindled, and the authorities were closing in. On December 2, 1993, the chase came to an end. Escobar, who had spent years evading capture, was found in a middle-class neighborhood in Medellín. The details of that fateful day remain the subject of much speculation. What we do know is that a shootout ensued, and amidst the chaos, Escobar met his end. The Kingpin, who had once seemed invincible, fell in a hail of bullets. His death sent shockwaves around the world. For some, it was a relief, an end to a reign of terror. For others, it was a tragedy, a loss of a man who, despite his flaws, had given them hope. Regardless of perspective, one thing was certain: an era had come to an end. Pablo Escobar's death marked the end of an era, but his legacy was far from forgotten. His story, marked by ambition, power, and ultimately downfall, remains a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked power and the relentless pursuit of justice. While Escobar's life was marked by violence and crime, his impact on Colombia and the world is undeniable. Pablo Escobar's reign may have ended, but the echoes of his influence continue to reverberate. In the immediate aftermath of his death, a power vacuum emerged within the Colombian drug trade. Other cartels scrambled to fill the void, sparking a wave of violence as factions vied for control. The Medellín cartel's demise gave rise to the Cali cartel, which for a time became the most powerful criminal organization in the world. The drug trade did not end with Escobar's death, it simply shifted hands. But it's not just the underworld that felt the changes. The Colombian government faced the daunting task of rebuilding a nation scarred by years of violence and corruption. Efforts were made to regain public trust, strengthen law enforcement, and promote economic growth. Despite these efforts, the scars of Escobar's reign remain visible, a stark reminder of a dark chapter in the nation's history. Yet, it's not just in the tangible aftermath we see Escobar's impact. In popular culture, the fascination with his life continues unabated. From television series to documentaries and films, Escobar's story has been retold countless times, each portrayal offering a different perspective on the man behind the myth. Some depict him as a ruthless criminal, others as a Robin Hood figure, a complex character who defied easy categorization. This fascination speaks volumes about our collective interest in power, wealth, and moral ambiguity. It's a testament to the enduring allure of Escobar's life story, a narrative filled with extremes of wealth and violence, compassion and brutality, love and fear. Pablo Escobar's life was a study in contrasts, a paradox that continues to captivate the world. A man who was both a devoted family man and a merciless kingpin. A philanthropist who built houses for the poor and a terrorist who brought a nation to its knees. Pablo Escobar, a name synonymous with power, terror and intrigue, will forever be remembered as one of the most infamous figures in history.